Okay, good evening and welcome to the May 20th, 2021 meeting of the Disability Commission in Grafton, Mass, formerly known as Hassanamesset. I'm Roger Trahan, Chair of the Commission, and I call this meeting to order. As a preliminary matter, please permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Daryl Reining.
Aye.
Christy Proctor.
Yes.
Catherine Dorr.
Aye.
Laura Deneen.
Aye.
Okay, and Matt often has a conflicting meetings, town related, and Jen wished for me to share that she's being induced today, so we wish her luck. So that's exciting. No anticipated speakers other than us on the agenda. And introduction to remote meeting. This open meeting of the Grafton Disability Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020. Due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings. And as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted on the town website at www.grafton-ma.gov, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment if there is any. For this meeting, the Grafton Disability Commission is convening by video conference via Zoom as reflected on our agenda, which is posted on our commission's webpage on the town website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that anything you broadcast may be captured by the recording. Regarding meeting materials, all supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda, and I'll add meeting packet unless I note otherwise. Regarding meeting business ground rules, we are now turning to the first item on the agenda, but before doing so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I know we always stray from this. Excuse me. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. And for any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. And for items with public comment, after members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment as follows. The chair will read public comments and questions received in advance of the meeting, followed by real-time board and or applicant responses. This is not applicable as we didn't I back off on that comment. Public comments during the meeting will be conducted through the chat feature in Zoom. The chair will read real-time comments and questions typed by computer participants in the chat feature, followed by real-time board/applicant responses. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call vote. I was toying with the idea of pre-recording that and showing that. Moving to the first item, and by the way, I took the liberty of that Hassanamesset comment as a shot across the bow to Christopher Columbus and Indigenous Peoples Day. That was just me using my bully pulpit. First item on the agenda, announcements. Today, May 20th, 2021 is Global Accessibility Awareness Day that we spoke of in prior meetings. So anyone have any comments on Global Accessibility Awareness Day, including our plans and to do something for this, but I will mention before opening up the floor that it's never too late to do things after the fact. So shoot, go for it. Daryl, did you raise your hand?
No.
Oh, I thought you were raising your hand. I'm sorry. Google Docs. Let's talk about Google Docs for a second and some of the things that we may have chatted about.
All right, so I sent that Google. Are you talking about the one I sent out to everybody?
Yes.
Yeah, after I was, Christy, first of all, thank you for being such a good note taker. Except for I couldn't totally remember my purpose, except for to kind of poll our people on what kinds of things we would want to do. Obviously, it was too late to do anything today. But it looks like only 2 responses, so I am not going to take that as a good data sample yet.
Okay.
Because it's not. So I am going to say that whoever did not fill it out, please do. And then hopefully when I update us on our workshop dates, we can slide this in at some time to make sure that we look at the responses that rose to the top and figure out how we're going to do that.
Okay.
I can say, Daryl, that it went to my junk.
Oh,
So
no.
I just found it today. So that could be an issue across the board. I'm just throwing that out there.
All right. You know what? I wanted to send it to everybody's personal emails because I just don't know if everybody gets Disability Commission emails. And I didn't have everybody's personal emails. So that was tough. Maybe we could all send them around to each other.
Sure. I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
So, Roger, if you want to share my post on Global Accessibility Day, let me see if I can, if it's even shareable. Yes, it is. So I'm going to share the screen for a moment. Can you allow me, please?
Yes. Before you do, all right, screen share is the green thing. I will just say all panelists who can share.
Yep.
Okay. And then
let me see if I can, I'm in my editor mode, so it's not.
All right, so
great,
all right, so I put all panelists.
Okay.
Okay. And then the other thing I wanted to ask the commission, and I guess Ms. Reining as vice. I am the only one right now that if something happened to my computer, you'd all get disconnected. So who, like who can I elevate?
I would say that your vice chair should be the co-host.
Yeah, and and I had addressed you to do that. And I don't know how to do that.
All right, so if you go down on participants and click on it.
Yeah.
You will see a list of names come up.
Yeah.
So you click on my name where it says.
Make co-host?
Yep, where it says more, and you make me co-host.
Okay, good. All right. And your face keeps on fading in and out because you got some bright sun behind you.
I know. I just don't have a good place to move.
Well, I'm going to show this real quick. There's actually 2 events occurring today. One is the Mental Health Action Day. This month is Mental Health Awareness Month, but today MTV rolls out their Mental Health Action Day as well. So this was my second post of the day. Happy 10th anniversary. So Roger, if you go to my QCC Accessibility Services page, you can just click on it. But what I liked about this was it talks about Huma Abedin, and she's, Huma Abedin. She's the deaf-blind graduate of Harvard who is now a lawyer out in California. And I heard her speak 2 years ago. She's awesome, but you can see her picture is right here on the left side. And then there's some other pictures, but Khan Academy posted just famous accessibility advocates. And I really appreciated that they just shared how people are moving the needle in terms of advocacy. And the other thing was Mental Health Action Day. And that's a more recent event that's celebrated as well. There's quite a few things that go on May 20th. It's a very popular date to hold and host different things.
And I will add that the Global Accessibility Awareness website that about a month ago had hardly anything on it, had over 120 or so pieces of input on what other organizations are doing. I mean, some significant and very varied stuff, and I think that that it's a great start to really get some ideas going. So it's not too late after the fact to acknowledge the day, even after the fact. So you'll share that. So Daryl, you'll share the Google Docs, and then if I go on to the QCC, I can share that on my own Facebook wall.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how are we gonna get everybody's email? Does everybody have Roger's email, his personal email?
His Hotmail, yes.
All right, so if we all email you, Roger, you can share out the list.
Okay. Okay, everyone ready to move on to other announcements?
Yes.
All right, just another reminder of our the upcoming terms ending 6/30 of 21, Christy and Jen. The select board most recently amended their 5/4/21 draft appointment policy, which includes reappointments, during their 5/18 meeting. And what they did is they tweaked a little bit, and that what they will be doing is all the vacancies or those terms that are ending will be basically up for grabs and will be announced as vacant or open for for applicants. And then on a quarterly basis, and I'm assuming the Grafton News, they will be, because of cost, they will be advertising all the vacancies that may happen on a periodic basis, aside from those that are coming up for the annual appointment process. So, but as an incumbent, you should be receiving a letter soon from the select board town administrator's office.
Already done and returned.
Okay, all right. And
Yay.
awesome. And so I just I threw that out there just so people would be familiar with it when their terms came up. That and I was always of this mindset, but didn't take any action on it, that why should everyone have just a rubber stamp every time they're up for reappointment? So this is a more inviting process to the rest of the community who may be interested. So you may need to be reapplying for your own slot. And then the Disability Commission reminder, and if I could back up, I'm not sure, I'm hearing a lot of, I don't know who's scratching or noise or background feedback or something.
I'm typing, so I'll mute.
I commute as well. I have like 7 kids here, so I don't know what they're doing. So I'll mute as well.
Okay. And so the Disability Commission reminder, annual conflict of interest online training was back on April 9th. So if anyone hasn't done that yet, that's due. And I think the whole open meeting law stuff was a separate link on the Grafton webpage. I need to double back with the town clerk to make sure I know who has had it, who doesn't. And if I found it tough to navigate. And I think I may not have completed the open meeting piece, even though I physically have a copy in hand just from a year and a half ago. So, if anyone hasn't done that, please do so. Anyone have, any other announcements? Actually, I do have one. It's a very brief one. And, just very brief. CPAC NADO had emailed me and simply noted that the everyday hero ceremony was a success. So look forward to that. I guess that may be a recurring thing. So, and anyone else have any announcements they want to pipe in? Okay, moving on, correspondence. Crescent Manor Nursing Home, that came in as a carbon copy. They are looking to get a variance from the Architectural Access Board. Rather than putting an elevator, they're requesting a lift from the first to the second floor. And the only reason it came by me is that the requirement is that it was CC'd to the building department, the local independent living center, which is the Center for Living and Working, and the local the local disability commission, which is us. So that is something that I anticipate receiving updates on, and I'll share them as they come up in future meetings. Does anyone have any questions regarding Crescent Manor Nursing Home's application? Okay, moving on then to item 3 is the meeting minutes of April 15th, 2021. Do I have a motion, Catherine, to accept the minutes, the draft minutes of April 15th, 2021?
So moved.
So moved. Second. Do I have a second?
Second.
Daryl seconds. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, if anyone else has no discussion, there was a few items that I wanted to mention that need tweaking on this. And you ready?
Hold on, I'm loading. Here we go. I'm ready.
Okay, and first, I'm assuming that you'll delete the agenda and just keep only minutes there.
Correct.
And then under the tiny URL, there was a parentheses that really was meant for those reading the agenda regarding the letters I and J. They get swallowed up in a hyperlink, so I include them.
So I can delete that?
You can delete that because it referred to the agenda if people were, if your computer didn't read that correctly.
Okay.
Yep. And then any reference to CPAC, the E is not small, CPAC is all caps. So
Yep.
I just, and then any reference to Evan Broussard's last name, it's BRASSARD. I think there was one or more places where it was BRE. So whatever places do a spell search, it's BRASSARD. And on agenda item 3, the municipal trainings by the Mass Office on Disability and others regarding me having spoken with Mr. Broussard regarding the small groups of employees. After that sentence, one of the things that I felt was important that we did discuss is that it wasn't only to encourage people, but that Mr. Broussard had actually initiated contact with MOD to arrange disability non-discrimination training and community access monitoring training for various employees. That it wasn't just something that was talked about as some future type of thing. that it was already in the works where Mr. Broussard actually initiated emails to get these two particular trainings going for various employees.
Okay, so the first employee training was one subject. I'm sorry, I put a training, but I think you said it was for,
No, what I was saying is that on number 3,
no, I got it.
okay,
But
yeah.
what were the names of the two trainings?
Oh, the two trainings, he had initiated contact with MOD to arrange disability, non-discrimination training.
That's it. I was looking for the word non-discrimination.
Yeah, and community access monitoring training for various employees.
Yep.
And then what I noticed on old business number 9, on the second to last page, on the updates, there wasn't any description beyond what was in the agenda regarding Montgomery Wood. And in that particular part of the discussion, I had mentioned that Mark Lesser, Mark is with a C, at AAB, would be sending Grafton Land Trust, you can say GLT, a 90-day letter to commence the work.
Okay, thank you.
So that there was, the draft hadn't indicated that there had been a discussion on that. So next to that, on 76, or the next item under old business, 76 to 78 Worcester Street regarding accessible parking signage and features. It was based on my call with my telephone conversation with Mr. Berger, that the owner will be taking care of the lot issues.
Yep, I got Karen there.
Yeah, and so there was, I think it was a typo as far as accessible parking. The owner will be taking, and then after the word taking, the word care would be placed.
Yep, I got it. And I
Oh,
think I got it after I sent it to you.
Oh, okay.
So
All right.
that's okay.
All right. So, and so I would say taking care of the lot issues regarding striping and signage.
Okay.
So, and whether you want to include that, it was based on, it may be beneficial to say that that this update is based on my conversation with Mr. Berger.
Okay.
And then lastly, at the very end of the draft minutes, because there was a meeting packet, could you add the hyperlink that you've done in the past where there was a meeting packet?
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Any other discussion on the motion as amended? All right, hearing none, all those in favor of,
Roger.
oh, I'm sorry, Kathy. I was,
No, I was on mute. So,
oh, I'm sorry.
regarding the patch thing, I don't know if infantilizing is quite the right word.
Hold on a second.
I don't know.
Oh, wait a minute. Which, hold on.
Under new business.
Hold on a second.
So I was looking at it and I'm like, I don't know.
Wait a minute. I'm just looking.
It's under, where's the number?
It's actually under the 4th paragraph.
Okay, Catherine had.
Okay, right above 11.
Should we say condescending?
Possibly, yeah. Maybe just that members of the autistic community have issues with the symbol.
Okay.
Might be a better way to put it. Yeah.
Does everyone
Let
agree
me
with that?
ask you, not to get caught in the weeds, but.
Yeah.
Is it possible that you may have used the word infantilizing?
I think I did it at one point. Yeah. That might be why.
Okay.
Yeah. But
All
that's
right.
not the entire issue with it. So.
Correct. Yeah. So we could tweak that. I have no problem. So what would you, the members of the autism community, not committee.
Oh, yeah.
So
Community.
Take issue with.
Yeah, take issue would probably be the best way to put it. Yeah.
So the word is community after the word autism,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yep, got it.
Aside from the
Nice
other
catch. I
thing.
didn't get that either.
I just
I know, I
noticed.
didn't
Yeah.
either.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and all right, any other discussion on the motion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor of accepting the draft minutes of April 15th, 2021 with amendments by roll call, Daryl Reining,
Aye.
Christy Proctor,
Aye.
Catherine Dorr,
Aye.
Laura Denine,
Aye.
Roger Trahan, aye. I declare the motion carried 5-0. Okay, and old business in parks, old business and updates. This sort of laundry list is something I've thrown together, and I'm hoping to sort of plow through this. But I won't speak too fast for Christie's typing fingers.
Oh, I'm fine.
All right, Parks and Rec. I was in communication with Jen Anderson, and that's EN at the end. And she had emailed me back on 5/18 a couple days ago. 3 things. The pathway to the entrance of Norcross Park is complete.
Which park? Middle Cross?
Norcross.
Norcross, okay.
Yeah, on North Street.
Thank you.
All right. Work is, all right, the second thing regarding the Parks and Rec is that work is still being done on the pathway at Airport Park. And I will note that on 5/4 of 2021, the select board approved a change order. And I'll give you the amount. That change order was for $21,849. And that was to the Childscapes contract. Turns out that part of the path was sort of within the bounds of one of the playing fields. So I don't know whether it was don't slide into third base or you'll hit blacktop. But there was some design issue whereby the part of the pathway was within the sort of close bounds of one of the playing fields. So other than that, this particular project is nearly done. And the third issue update is communications are continuing with AAB regarding the rubber mats. And the issue was that AAB had approved such mats within playgrounds, but there are a lot of mats outside of playground areas. So she's awaiting a reply from the Architectural Access Board, the AAB. Anyone have any questions or comments regarding Parks and Rec accessibility? All right. Then moving on to old business updates. B, Grafton Common Brick Pavers, the improvement project.
Mhm.
I've been in touch with Paul Scarlett. Okay. I think he's both on Community Preservation Committee and Historic District Commission. Wears a few hats, but I've been in touch with Paul Scarlett, who said that the select board will be addressing the contract signing. And that's with JAM Corp, capital letters, during its June 3rd, 2021 meeting. And they anticipate breaking ground in early June. And the other thing is that they're under budget. And it appears to be within the scope of the project that if there's any money left over, as they were considering expanding the repair work to incorporate making the bandstand, some people call it a gazebo, to make the bandstand accessible. All right. So the logistics are being worked on. But Paul said it's deemed probable. So I will be getting an update from him, as things progress. So does anyone have any questions or comments or anything that they know regarding the Grafton Common Improvement Project? I will add that the benches will all have an accessible route. So they're getting rid of the inaccessibility feature where there were a few benches that were in the middle of grassy areas. So the benches, it's my understanding from the pictures, will be adjacent and immediately outside the walking paths and not in the middle of these grassy areas like they were before. All right, Christy, you ready to move on to C?
One question is the June 23rd meeting for the select board,
June
Or-
3rd.
June 3rd. Thank you. And that's the select board, not the historical commission.
That's correct. Yeah,
Okay.
the select board needs to sign that contract with JAM Corp. Okay.
Good.
Item C, Gummery Wood, the Grafton Land Trust land at the corner of Wheeler Road in Worcester Street. I'm awaiting an email reply from both Rob Aberg, president of the Land Trust, and Mark, with a C, Mark Lesser. He's a compliance officer at AAB. And doubling back to our original earlier discussion about the 90-day letter and everything like that, I haven't heard anything. I don't know whether that went out, and if it went out, what date. So I wasn't gonna, go high and low to really chase people down. I sent the email out to both of them and I await a reply. So I'm just keeping that conversation going. Any comments or questions regarding Gummery Wood? I will add, and I probably should have put this in the correspondence. Scott Ricker had sent an email to Mr. Broussard reviving the discussion of the van accessible or lack of a van accessible space there. That was part of the original complaint to the Architectural Access Board, but it disappeared from the AAB's communication to the Land Trust. So Mr. Ricker revived that piece of the discussion, notwithstanding the accessible route discussion of that location, that the particular spot lacks a van accessible space. All right, then moving on to item D, 76 to 78 Worcester Street, the accessible signage and features. I had received an email reply back on the 18th of May, this past Tuesday, from Mr. Berger. And this will be addressed with the timing of the Worcester Street construction. So I don't know if there's any overlap in the contractors, but the timing is supposed to occur in conjunction or thereabouts with Worcester Street construction and paving. Any comments or input on Worcester Street? Okay. Next, item E, Post Office Pub, regarding their accessible parking. That issue went away when they got rid of their tent, or most of the issue went away, but it didn't entirely, but it kind of got revived when they put their tent back up. And what Mr. Berger had indicated to me in an email on May 18th is that the post office pub has hired a parking lot striper to add 3 more accessible spaces. So provided that the striping and the signage is okay, that this should hopefully address Mr. Ricker's prior complaints.
And those spots will be accessible, or just 3 more spots?
Three more spots, 3 more accessible spaces.
Okay,
Yeah, so the striper's adding 3 more accessible spaces, but I don't know if that's net 3, if the original space in question is still encroached upon by the tent, as Mr. Ricker had mentioned.
okay.
So, so any comments on the post office pub, any input? Okay, moving forward, item F. CVS COVID testing trailers and accessibility. Mr. Berger had indicated in an email to me on the 18th that he's been told that they received a variance from the AAB. I didn't get specifics on who he heard this from or whether it came internally from administrative staff in his office, but it's his understanding that they'd received the variance because there's no, the dimensions and the turnaround and everything like that, the trailers were not accessible.
From the CDC?
No, the testing trailers, were they CDC trailers?
Well, they received a variance from who? I'm sorry,
Well,
Roger.
no, AAB.
Okay.
No, CDC has nothing to do with this. I was like, huh? All
I
right.
don't know, my brain went to CDC instead of AAB,
No,
sorry.
the C comes from
The alphabet
CVS.
soup of this is just a little bit,
I'm
anyways.
tired too.
Okay, thank you.
So Mr. Berger, per 5/18/21 email, it's his understanding that CVS received the variance from AAB. Okay.
Thank you.
Well,
You're
I've
kind of
gone-
fading in and out, Laura. What was that?
I mean, I had to disconnect. I'm sorry. So then I had to call into my phone. I've gone a few times, and I can say as well, they've been very accommodating by just coming out to the car. So I think too, for 2 instances that I witnessed, one is, I was with my daughter who had surgery. They came out to the car and did it. Then the car next to me, some woman had mobility issues, and they came out to her car. So I also, whether they had a variance or whatnot, I also do want to say that they've been really accommodating.
Okay. And maybe that's the reason why they were offered the variance, that as long as they accommodated. So I don't know how you want to document that, Christy, that
Yeah.
Laura had seen accommodations regarding parking lot testing. Thank you, Laura, for that input. That's good information.
Good.
Anyone have any other comments on the CVS COVID testing? Okay, item G, Grafton Public Schools, that's a Freudian slip. Grafton Public Schools RFP for ADA self-eval. And so I received a reply on 5/18 from Superintendent Jay Cummings. And my reference was to the school committee's 5/11/21 meeting, that he had let the school committee know that they were going out to bid this week on this, meaning I think he was speaking in the present, not regarding the week of the meeting. So he had referenced that they were going out to bid this week on this, and that he'll share the details as the process unfolds. One of the things that I did mention to him, and I've mentioned to the committee here, is that darn it, they need to make sure that the RFP includes that the information is also presented in an Excel format to prevent what we had gone through
Mhm.
in getting it from, transferring it from Word. Anyone have any input or comments on the school district's RFP for their ADA self-eval? Okay. All right, then moving forward to item H, autism awareness / acceptance, the puzzle piece symbol Grafton Police Department patch sale. I spoke, Tuesday was a busy day for me, Tuesday the 18th. I spoke with Chief Crapo on the 18th. And he had mentioned, and what I had initially done and was reflected in our prior meeting minutes, was that I was emailing Mary Ann DeVries, and she had forwarded it to Chief Crapo, that he hadn't been aware of the controversy among some people within the autism community. And he had mentioned that he had bought this was through the Grafton Police Association, not through the town. And he had actually bought 100 patches with his own money at $2 a piece for resale, but at $10 a piece. So that was his own donation. And he had bought those from the Emblem Authority. Okay. So I don't know. I didn't research the Emblem Authorities, whether they have additional patches. Chief Crapo was not sure whether this particular fundraiser would continue in ensuing years, but appreciated the input. He wasn't aware of that some people saw it as controversial. And they raised, last year, he had mentioned they raised $400 last year with the sale of these patches, and that the 2021 donations were to be supporting a school which is assisted by the Doug Flutie Foundation. So, they have various fundraisers with patches. So I think they still have some left. He knows about the issue of that is held by some, the puzzle piece as something that is not desirable. And with the Emblem Authority being the vendor, it's possible that if they do have this fundraiser next year, perhaps this particular vendor may have either the gold or the rainbow infinity symbol. Or someone could bring it to the Emblem Authority's attention. It's like one of us.
Yeah, I was just about to say, maybe I might look to just contact them and be like, hey, did you guys know about this? Because
Yeah.
It's kind of been a thing this year, particularly to approach organizations and be like, hey, this is a little iffy, maybe consider changing it to this. So like the information I gave you about the infinity symbol is the most used. Other groups are using a butterfly, apparently, which I didn't know about until I did my research on Tuesday. And using the color gold, I didn't know about the color gold until Tuesday either, because the atomic symbol for gold is AU, which is the same as the first two letters of autism.
Right.
So I didn't even know about that. So it seems like the more research I do into it too, even as someone who is in the know on it, like I'm learning so much about this stuff. So
And you know what else, Catherine? For the first time in a long time, I revisited the periodic table of elements. I think it's 79. I'm not sure, but it was with a fourth grader, I will need to relearn that. So I wasn't aware that the gold was CPU. So that would be great, Catherine, if you could reach out to the Emblem Authority and see if they have either other patches or they would consider.
Yeah. Because again, a lot of the time it's just a matter of ignorance of the issue. People who aren't autistic don't know about it. So we kind of have to let them know, because if they don't know, they don't know. So.
Catherine, would it be a fair statement to say that that there is no universal sort of on board what should be the symbol, that it's an ongoing, or
Yeah,
the discussion is sort of rolling out, for lack
yeah,
of a better term.
yeah, definitely. Because the puzzle piece itself was created by a non-autistic person. So we
Okay.
kind of want to create one like by autistic people to represent autistic people. So
Okay. All
it
right,
is
yeah, if
still
you
in the
could-
works.
So if you could reach out to them, give us an
Yeah.
update at some
Okay.
point as to what you found out, that'd be great. Any other discussion on the autism awareness, acceptance, the puzzle piece badge? All right. All right, any other old business? Okay.
Wait, Roger, Daryl.
Oh, Daryl.
Never mind, I see it under next meetings.
Oh, okay. All right. So new business. I had put this with town meeting coming up on Saturday, June 5th at 11:30 a.m. accessibility. Okay. I had in the past couple of days back and forth to Mr. Broussard, our town administrator, but I CC'd Matt often as our select board rep, as that sort of team effort. The select board actually puts, signs the warrant. And the football field and gymnasium it's two venues, okay? And the communication back and forth was basically, since he's our new town administrator, he was actually aware of the prior discussions, but I called it to his attention about I know Ray Mead, not only as former town moderator, but as emergency management director, had done a ton of work regarding the meeting logistics, including accessibility, which among them included if there were people that wanted to go to the football field but had mobility issues, that there would be either rides from golf carts or whatever from the parking lot down to the football field. And that this wasn't sort of like an accessibility venue, separate but equal, and the football field, so that was one piece. And then I had brought up the issue that they're looking into regarding porta-johns, accessible porta-johns. And they're right now going to look into pricing. It didn't appear that they were planning on putting any on the field. And this comes on, I think it's, in order to save money, it's graduation back to back with town meeting. Is it Friday, Saturday? It's graduation June 4th. Friday?
Yes.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
So whatever so the logistics is sort of a team effort to be efficient and have one vendor do the setup for both. Wasn't going to put porta-johns, but they're looking into pricing of them to put them on, to see about putting them on the field. Because if someone does end up on the field, then there becomes a real-time issue that if the same people that needed a ride from the parking lot to the field then need to use the restroom, then in real time, they'll have to be driven back up there, to use the facilities in the high school. So, so those were a couple of the issues. And I know there was some technical issues regarding the sound system. Daryl.
So how do people know who to contact if they need accommodations?
That's part of the discussion that I had asked that this be advertised in as many media platforms as possible. So that.
Yeah, but with like a phone number, who are they contacting?
I don't know
Burger?
yet. I don't
Okay.
know yet.
All
And
right.
so that's evolving right now, but we have the 20th, we got a couple of weeks. And so I think we can roll out some communications very quickly on the various, either town website or social media platforms, and then continue with those reminders. Yes,
Well, I wonder if it should go on the signs that they put up advertising, you know how they do the sign the rolling sign at the intersection of 140 and 122.
sure, yeah,
If they put accessible, or if you need accommodations, call this number, if something there,
right.
just to, so the drivers can, the traffic, blah, blah.
So that will be part of our ongoing discussion. So making
What's that
sure that,
sign? What's
yeah,
that
and
sign called?
making, pardon?
The flashing sign.
Yes, yeah, yeah, it's in block letters and big letters. There's not a whole lot of information. You want it to be seen, but there's not a whole lot of information on each flash that you can put up there before the light turns green again. But I'm sure that there's ways around that, maybe a little smaller script, but yeah, I'll be good back and forth, and I'll continue to CC Matt on that. So, any other issues? Well, I was saying
Kristen
that,
has a question.
Chair Trahan.
Chrissy, I think we had yeah, we had brought up communication as well last year, didn't we?
Yeah, but I wanted to ask, does this mean that this will only be in person, or will there be a Zoom link? And will this be broadcast, or is this going to go out on TV? I mean, we've seen so many benefits of having things done in remote for people who can't ambulate, move, or have tight schedules. Or someone could watch this if they're on vacation at the Cape.
Right. And
if there was a Zoom link.
I don't know if it's, I think it wouldn't necessarily be a Zoom link. I think it would be probably through the online or the live feature of GCTV.
Well, they could do it as a webinar,
Right.
which means you have to have a license for 3,000 or more for a large
Okay.
group.
Okay.
I assume the town has that since they've had to do town meetings with Zoom.
Okay. When you say town meetings, do you mean town meeting or
Town meeting. Town
Okay.
meeting.
So was town meeting ever in a Zoom platform? I don't think it was.
Well, what about last October?
It was a link. It was a live feed from the Grafton Cable Studios.
Yeah, because if you do the Zoom license, then you're able to get the closed captioning. So,
And
okay. So
yeah.
the question is, will there be an interpreter? Will there be captioning? That's my angle that I want to pursue.
Okay.
And if we need a live captionist, I have a great one down in Rhode
Okay.
Island.
Yeah, and I would say that one of the things that would be very frustrating for me, and actually has been very frustrating, is the sound systems. It is not only tough to hear things clearly when things are broadcast over a speaker system in a football field, but also during daylight hours, seeing things on a screen isn't the same as being in a darkened auditorium. So there are some visual aspects to presentations that pretty much are very difficult visual wise to even people without low vision. So I think there are some aspects of the setups and things like that that pose challenges for everyone, not just those with, impairments. But
Yeah, Chair Trahan, that can be rectified very easily by having the PowerPoint put to bed Wednesday night and
Okay.
then publishing it Thursday, Friday. Look at it on your computer, use your screen reader for those who need visual magnification, or for those who just want to be primed before they attend the meeting.
Okay.
There's a lot of easy solutions to this, because you're right, the readability from a far distance diminishes, especially with the daylight, bright daylight,
Right.
casting shadows.
Right. And it was almost meaningless to look at some of this stuff. You couldn't see it, between the daylight and the distance. It was almost meaningless without a printout. So I can double back, and maybe Mr. Broussard can double back with Mr. Blake as the communications director. That would be his forte. Okay. So any other comments about town meeting? Yes.
No, I just have a new business.
Oh, okay. So I guess, this will be sort of evolving discussion with Mr. Broussard. And then maybe we come up with a more formal process and checklist in advance of fall town meeting. Whether or not it's indoors or not, there are always things that can be addressed to enhance the experience. So, all right, go for it. What other new business, Christy, did you have?
So I had a conversation with William Blake the week after our last meeting. So that was April 22nd. I can go back and check. If we met on the 15th, it might have been the 21st. I'll go back and add it to my notes. That notwithstanding.
Was that with Jen Pearson, or was that solo?
No, well, I invited Jen and Mr. Blake, but then Mr. Blake had an unexpected meeting, had to drop out. So we were left, and we just said, we'll meet again the next day. So
Okay.
the next day I didn't hear from Jen, and it was just Mr. Blake and myself.
Okay.
So we were able to have a very amiable conversation for about 45 minutes.
What date was that again? The 22nd of April?
Oh, let me go out of my screen and I can tell you.
No, you don't have to. If it's going to be difficult to locate, don't worry
No,
about
I
it.
can find it. It's yeah, I'll come back to it, but it was right after, because we had meant to meet the week of our meeting, and then he had to delay it a week, and then delayed it again that day because
Okay.
of a last minute thing. Anyways, William Blake is just one of the best things for our town. Let me tell you, energetic, on the ball. At the conclusion of our meeting, I just had to say, where did you go to school? How did you cobble this together? And he essentially, of course, I want to know where, what, how. I was very impressed with how quickly he has moved and acquired his degrees. Very much a go-getter, and I'm really pleased for our town to have hired someone with his initiative.
Awesome.
In the meantime, our initial conversation was kind of just to give a background about the plan and our hopes for the plan and working it through, and how we really had focused on some accessibility issues for the town website. And he was like, oh, definitely, I'm on the same page with you. Please
Awesome.
know we're going to be relooking at that. And I gave him the website for the disability site checker. And I gave him some other tools. And then we talked about ways he can promote disability awareness activities, including the Global Accessibility Awareness Day. And I shared with him my website. I told him to borrow anything he wanted that comes down the pike from us. And then I gave him some other websites where I borrow information or steal information, to be honest, when I share, so I don't have to recreate the wheel.
Right.
And he was very open to all the ideas, definitely sees the need for it. I think we're on it. I'd like to believe that even without our conversation, that the need to have access is on his radar, and very pleasant, and we'll be following up in the future, I'm sure.
That's exciting, and I will mention, as I had before, that with Mr. Broussard having previously been a municipal ADA coordinator, I think the two of them, that synergy, I think, will really end up in some really good results, and probably sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
So it's awesome. Any other new business items anyone wants to bring up? All right, moving on to next meetings. Our workshop meeting. Daryl.
Finally. All right, so I called the community barn. They are currently closed for outside use.
Okay,
And they are actually not going to be up and running until probably July.
okay,
And they are changing some of the rules that will be posted on their website. They're changing food policy rules, meaning that nothing homemade can be brought in. But things that are made with serve safe standards can be brought in, like from Wegmans or, local shops.
okay.
So,
Was this a COVID issue or a liability issue? Do you know?
COVID, they
Okay,
haven't been open yet.
Okay.
And they're going to open, but they need to be open for themselves for like two weeks before they post how to sign up. So he told me on their website they're gonna have a form to fill out for future use, and that they will not be open to the public to sign up until July.
okay.
So
Has anyone heard anything about the municipal center and meeting rooms? Anybody? I haven't looked into it. I haven't heard anything coming down the pike.
I
Don't
can
forget,
ask
we're gonna
them.
have the new library.
That is, ooh, okay, yeah. All
I've
right,
seen the design for some of those new meeting spaces. They're pretty cool.
okay, so,
So maybe we can just reach out to Beth and ask her if we can tiptoe in and be the first group to initiate one of those meeting rooms, or not initiate. What do you call it? When you break the champagne bottle.
vandalism?
Kristen?
No,
Kristen,
That we can
Kristen, is
Kristen.
that the word you're looking for?
Kristen.
Okay.
Meeting space. Initiate, you know what I mean,
Kristen, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So Christy, you'll reach out?
Sure.
to Beth?
yeah, and I just actually texted Cindy I to see what's up at the municipal center.
Oh, okay, all right. I'm just writing my. Yeah. All right. So Daryl, you'll look into something regarding mini center. Christy, you'll see about the library.
Yeah.
And I
I'm
don't-
thinking we're probably gonna have to wait to get new dates
yeah,
or send out one of those sheets where people
Sure.
put in their dates that
Right.
they're available, but
and I think we had talked about how this would be no more than 90 minutes, and 6 to 7:30 p.m. seemed like a good time frame
yep,
during the week. Okay. That would be neat to have something at the library.
that would be.
Yeah, and the thing is too, is that whether or not people are masked or not, I think that, and I'm not asking anyone to give their opinion here and now, but I'm respectful and mindful that there may be people who, in spite of the restrictions being lifted, may still be uncomfortable meeting in person. Now, This wouldn't be a Zoom type of meeting. However, what we did vote on as a commission back in September of 2019 is that any meetings could be accessed by members via phone. But even in the meeting rooms, we only had one link, so we didn't have the logistics weren't there to have any more than one member not be physically present at once. I guess we could have a sort of call in and maybe a conference phone, but ideally these workshop meetings are done in person, but that doesn't mean that one's input wouldn't be valued if they could only call in.
True.
So,
Or if we had to stick to Zoom for a while, I mean,
Yeah.
we could do that too.
yeah, I wouldn't want to put it off just for the sole purpose of waiting for in person. I guess we could certainly start workshop meetings via Zoom.
Mhm.
So. And I think that was sort of goals and such, policy goals, things like that, for starters.
That's all I've got for you.
All right, cool. Just looking here. So then next, our regular meeting, third Thursday, would be June 17th, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. And I'm assuming third Thursday seems to be working for everyone as a committee. And I think especially with Zoom, the attendance has been pretty good, remotely. So, all right, then I guess here it is 7:41. I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
It's a record.
Yeah, I know it is.
It is a
So
record.
moved.
Who moved that?
Me.
Daryl, motion made. Do I have a second to adjourn?
Second,
All right, Laura seconded. All those in favor by roll call. Daryl,
Aye.
Christie,
Aye.
Catherine,
Aye.
Laura,
aye.
Trahan, I declare the motion carried. This meeting is adjourned at 7:41 p.m.